CivicCenterTV.com and follow us at Civic Center TV on Twitter and Civic Center TV 15 on Facebook. Civic Center TV, television that's close to home. Stay tuned for the Splash Live. It's time for the Splash Live from Civic Center TV, featuring stories from and about people like you in the Greater West Bloomfield area. Simulcast on cable, 89.3 Lakes FM, social media, and the web. Now live from Green Media Center on Walnut Lake Road, it's the Splash Live.
Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Thank you for joining me. I'm your host, Tyler Keefe, and thank you for staying with us all the time online on CivicCenterTV.com and across our social media, Facebook at Civic Center TV 15, as well as X, Instagram, and YouTube, where you can subscribe for free at Civic Center TV. Our top story today is as we look into the middle to late portions of the week, we're expecting some snowfall in Greater West Bloomfield and throughout lower Michigan. And it's going to be significant snowfall according to the National Weather Service, with up to 4 to 8 inches across much of southeast Michigan Wednesday into Thursday. For more on that, we go out into the field to Civic Center TV reporter Jake Schaff, live with us in West Bloomfield. Jake.
Tyler, good morning. I'm here live alongside Orchard Lake Road, where many people are continuing to make their drive to start their day with their morning commute. You can see a lot of people stopped at the light right here, making their way to work. A relatively easy commute today, but in a couple days, that may not be the case. As you said, there's going to be a very big winter storm making its way to our area, starting on Wednesday afternoon and ending Thursday morning, where we should be expecting about 6 inches of snow. The National Weather Service has included travel conditions among the hazards of the storm, noting that they may, quote, be very difficult, and that those conditions may remain the same through Thursday morning's commute. Key roadways in the community will be addressed early and often as the storm rolls on through. However, the Road Commissioner for Oakland County's Craig Bryson told us that despite all the efforts from the road crews, conditions may vary as this storm passes through.
Well, when we get the heavy snow, and we have things like whiteout conditions or just very heavy snow, we will be out with all available trucks. But frankly, if we had twice as many trucks as we have, we wouldn't be able to have every inch of road cleared, plowed, salted at every moment. So despite, the best efforts and intentions of the Road Commission, there are going to be situations where the roads are not ideal.
If you're going to be dealing with some of these hazards, the best way to keep yourself safe on Greater West Bloomfield roads is to pack your patience. And Bryson agrees, saying that road hazards become a bit less threatening when drivers practice additional caution.
By all means, slow down. Don't drive as fast as you normally would. Even when we're out salting, plowing, there's the potential for slippery, icy conditions. And even whiteout conditions, as we saw over the Thanksgiving holiday. So please slow down for your own safety and for the safety of those on the road around you.
And beyond your commute to and from Greater West Bloomfield, preparing for the elements in advance is your best bet to safely navigate winter storms, as the National Weather Service's Jacqueline Anderson told our team's Kevin McIntosh.
There's a few things that you can do to prepare. Always make sure you have dressing in warm layers, especially if you're going to be spending time outside. If you have travel plans, make sure you have emergency supplies in your car. And just make sure that you're taking those precautions, and always check the forecast before you leave, because you never know just how cold it might get that day or how much snow that we're expecting on a given day. So making sure that you're staying up to date with the forecast so you can prepare ahead of time is really important.
For updated forecasts from the National Weather Service, you can visit weather.gov/DTX or stay tuned to the Splash Live for more updates and expert insight. Back to you, Tyler.
Appreciate the report. Jake Schaff with us live on Orchard Lake Road in West Bloomfield. Simple conditions today as you commute throughout the Greater West Bloomfield community to and from work and other things that you're doing here in our community. That's definitely going to be different as we head into the later portions of Wednesday. Wednesday afternoon, right around 3 o'clock is what the present forecast is showing for when these snowstorms will be coming through, and they will last all the way through that morning commute. Again, as we look at the image on your screen, gives some details. This is straight from the National Weather Service, weather.gov/DTX, and you can get even more personalized forecasts for our zip codes here in Greater West Bloomfield at the top corner of their website. You'll be able to put in your zip code, click on your city, and it will give you warnings specific to your area or more specific forecasts. Here in the Metro Detroit area, the nearest nearby major city that they have a forecast for at this time is Pontiac, where the National Weather Service's Detroit office is located. And right now that projection about 6 inches between Wednesday afternoon and Thursday morning. So take those extra precautions. As people are taking those precautions, maybe they'll be hunkering down at home for Wednesday evening and Thursday instead of going out and about. Maybe jack the heat up a little bit and to stay warm and cozy inside of your home. But that can also get really expensive as we head throughout the Michigan winters. Our Kevin McIntosh went out in the community to talk to a local expert to learn some strategies that could help keep your heating bill down a little bit during this winter season.
I'm here in West Bloomfield with a local homeowner to see how energy efficient materials and upgrades can help you save money. As we spoke to the West Bloomfield home inspector, we also found out how we can keep our Metro Detroit homes comfortable during the winter season.
So the thing about sort of the greater Metro Detroit area in general is we have everything from brand new builds to homes built, in the late 1800s. So in that you end up, really old homes, there's almost no insulation in them, right? Energy efficiency wasn't a thing back then. And then, you have homes like this one that were built, in the late 50s, 60s. There's lots of those in West Bloomfield. And those homes may have some insulation or some energy efficiency, but there are lots of things that can be done to those homes as well.
In Greater West Bloomfield, we enjoy our local lakes during the summer, but we find ways to protect our homes from the lake effect wind during the winter.
Particularly if your home has older windows and on that lake or windward facing side, you can get like a plastic film that can go over those, because odds are you're probably not going out those windows and doors. You're not opening them this time of year anyway. So you can put something like that, because even that amount will stop quite a bit the actual physical draft when you're getting wind forcing that air in.
Some of the energy saving changes you make may depend on your current status and future plans.
So as a renter, obviously you're not going to be putting in brand new windows or things like that, but you don't really have to. There are a lot of things that you can pick up from any big box home improvement store, to stop door drafts, to wrap around windows, gaskets that seal around those things, all of that stuff. You can get window film. If your home that you're renting has older inefficient windows, you can put window film on the inside. Even things like heavy curtains, can reduce your energy loss through windows by about 10%. But as a homeowner now, depending on how long you want to live in the house, may also determine the amount of material upgrades you want to do. Things like more energy efficient windows, doors, adding insulation to your attic. If you live in an older home, there may be very little or no insulation in the attic. And that's a tremendous amount of heat loss to an attic. And there are a lot of programs that are available both through the utility companies, DTE and consumers, as well as there are state and federal programs that are called HOMES, HOMES, and HEAR, HEAR, that will give you pretty big rebates for all sorts of those upgrades.
By making small choices and choosing the right material, West Bloomfield homeowners and renters alike can make their homes more energy efficient and environmentally friendly. From West Bloomfield, I'm Kevin McIntosh, Civic Central TV.
Appreciate the report, Kevin. Even more important to have that information as you make those last-minute preparations for some snowy weather coming in as we head into the middle and later portions of the week. Thank you very much for that report. Before the snowy weather comes in, a little bit of sunny fun at Gino's Pizzeria and Restaurant, all in support of the kids. It is the Optimist Club of Keego Harbor's Euchre Tournament coming back tonight at 6 p.m. at Gino's Pizzeria and Restaurant on Cass Lake Road in Keego Harbor. Entry is just $25 and gets you into the tournament and also gets you some pizza and some soft drinks tonight as well. If you're not familiar with euchre, or maybe it's been a while since you've played and you want to put your best foot forward in the tournament, there is a refresher clinic that begins at 5 p.m. with pizza and soft drinks at 5:30, and then the friendly competition at 6 o'clock until 8 o'clock or the end of the tournament at Gino's Pizzeria and Restaurant. Slots are still open to compete tonight if you'd like to participate or you'd like to help out the Optimist Club with a donation. Otherwise, if you cannot attend, send an email to Mike St. Louis at presidentmike930@icloud.com. Again, that is presidentmike930@icloud.com. And again, Euchre night at Gino's Pizzeria and Restaurant with the Optimist Club of Keego Harbor. Tournament at 6 o'clock. All the fun, the games, and the good food and company starts off at 5 o'clock. Parents and students, tomorrow, a very important day throughout our schools in Greater West Bloomfield, especially in those public schools where it is count day in Michigan. Wednesday, February 12th, is Student Count Day. It's a vitally important day for all of our school districts in Greater West Bloomfield. And there are 7 public school districts that cover the Greater West Bloomfield community altogether. And so better attendance leads to ultimately better outcomes in the classroom, but it also has a direct impact on what is called per pupil funding for each of these school districts. Every school district, every public school district at least, gets a certain amount of funding from the state government based on how many students are in their classrooms. And count days, like we're going to have on Wednesday this week, have a major impact on keeping that count accurate and that funding accurate for our public schools. So the West Bloomfield School District encouraging kids to make sure that they're in class tomorrow morning in order to make sure they are part of the count. For more information and more important dates to remember in the West Bloomfield School District, you can visit wbsd.org or follow them on Facebook at West Bloomfield Schools. Some of the best among us are teachers in our West Bloomfield School District, including Colleen Mestog, who recently was named Best in Class, one of many across the state of Michigan on that exclusive list from the Detroit Red Wings in 2025. She joins us now on the program to tell us even more about this special honor. Colleen, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me.
Glad to have you on, and congratulations, first of all, on this honor from the Detroit Red Wings. When you first heard the news, what was your initial reaction?
I was honored and honestly just surprised. I think it's so great when organizations honor and recognize teachers. I think everyone in education knows it's kind of a thankless job. So it's just amazing when an organization takes time to celebrate us. It was really special.
The program honors 75 teachers throughout the state during 3 different award ceremonies. That was one of those across the state that's honoring these educators. And when you think about the Detroit Red Wings and their honoring of these educators, as someone that's on the front lines of this every day and sees the work that our teachers, that our tech specialists, that are all the other officials throughout our classrooms and throughout our schools are putting in, what does this then mean to you kind of on top of that, being that you're honored amongst some of the best of really talented people that are educating our kids every day?
Yeah, I think when you looked around the room, there were teachers in all different areas from around the state. And when I think about the colleagues I work with on a day-to-day basis, every single one of us should be honored. We in West Bloomfield just have the best of the best. I've been teaching almost 20 years. I've been in neighboring district and now in West Bloomfield, and I've been a classroom teacher and now a teacher librarian. And education is the single most important job I feel out there. And so I really think that we need to honor and celebrate and recognize all of the educators in our lives and our children's lives. We wouldn't be here without them. So I really think about all the teachers who've inspired me in my career, the teachers that I had as a child, professors, and just the colleagues that I learn next to on a day-to-day basis that just make me a better professional. So I really think holistically about everybody and just kind of the shoulders who I stand on, and I hope to lift all of those up as well.
Colleen Mestog is with us, one of 75 educators across the state who's been nominated as Best in Class by the Detroit Red Wings and received some grants and some honors from them as well in one of their 3 ceremonies for educators all across the state. She's also their information and tech specialist and I-Center director at Doherty Elementary School, joining us on the Splash Live. And Colleen, as you said, you've been working in this industry for about 20 years now, and you've been able to work with so many different excellent educators and learn so much along the way. What are some of those key elements of what you've learned that you've been able to apply in your educational profession that maybe set you up for an award like this?
Well, I think being a teacher librarian and being in this kind of niche area of the school is an amazing opportunity because alongside, of course, I'm running a fully circulating library, which is a huge undertaking in and of itself. But also as a teacher librarian, I'm teaching students every hour, every day. So I have the opportunity to teach and learn alongside approximately 500 students every single week. And so, yes, of course, they're checking out books. And of course, we're engaging in amazing stories and literacy lessons, but I'm truly able to inspire readers. And when we think about what is the most important thing that I think educators teach, it's reading. Our goal is to create lifelong readers. So the fact that I can inspire and impact an entire school community, and also a school community that I live in as well. So this is a real amazing opportunity to live and teach and work in the community that I reside in. I'm just really invested in West Bloomfield. I have 2 girls who are in the district. My husband's a teacher in a neighboring district. And so, I come from a family of teachers. I'm a part of a family of teachers. And I just think it's an amazing opportunity to impact an entire school community. And I also hope that I'm impacting families as well. I hope that I'm giving strategies and tools that parents can kind of put and caregivers can put in their back pocket to inspire their young readers at home.
One of the best in classes in one of the best school districts in the state of Michigan, right here in the West Bloomfield School District. Colleen Mestog joins us from Doherty Elementary on today's edition of the Splash Live, named one of 75 teachers across the state in the Detroit Red Wings 2025 Best in Class nominations as well. And you talk about the importance of education and in particular reading in the classroom for our kids, for their not only current education, but education all throughout their life. And today we have so much of a blend of traditional technologies like reading and books and that sense, and also modern technologies, whether it's computers or tablets or AI and VR and so much else that's coming into play today. So as an educator that's primarily focused in that area, how do you start to blend those two together to keep the kids educationally sound with all the traditional elements, but also keep them up to date with all these new technologies that will ultimately be really helpful for them for years to come?
Absolutely. That's a great question, Jake. I think when we think about reading, we have to think about access to books, and we have to think about there's different access points for students. So, of course, paper books are not going anywhere, and that's a good thing because we know the brain research shows how important it is for us to hold that book and have that relationship with the text. But of course, we can have that relationship on a Kindle and an e-reader and e-books, and listening to audiobooks count as well. So there's a lot of different access points that all count for kind of quote unquote reading. And when we think about the technology piece, I think in our department across the district, we're really working on teaching digital citizenship. So we're helping students understand how do we have this balance with screens and with text, and how do we understand how these screens are working and how to limit some of that screen time that can be so addicting for students, and we're guilty as grown-ups as well. So I think it's important that we're teaching them how to stay safe online, how to use these resources appropriately. Of course, there's wonderful research online, and as mentioned, ebooks and other websites that are educational. But we also have to be really mindful about creating that healthy balance in our media life.
And you, of course, were honored by the Detroit Red Wings as one of their best in class. You were able to go to Little Caesars Arena with some other educators from across the local area, across the state, as they received their honor as well, and meet some of the Red Wing legends, including Justin Abdicator. Here's a picture of Colleen at Little Caesars Arena on game night. Got 2 tickets to go enjoy a Red Wings game, a pre-game meal, some Red Wings apparel, some gift cards as well, and of course, the great honor as one of the best in class. You also had an a chance to interact with Justin Abdelkader, who's from Michigan, a Red Wings legend in his own right. You invited him out to Doherty Elementary School. Any update on that? Are we expecting Abby to be out there anytime soon?
Well, hopefully, yes. He was wonderful. We got to meet his family. He talked about the importance of educators in his life. He talked about how even when he was, on the team for the Red Wings, how he was still working on getting his degree from Michigan State as well. So he was a real great inspiration and just a really down-to-earth guy. So we did talk about his picture book that he published a few years ago. And he actually came to Doherty a while back before I was working in the district. And so we'd love to have him back in the library soon. So hopefully we'll connect. And I can't make any promises, but hopefully we can make that happen, hopefully next year.
And Colleen, lastly, as you reflect on receiving this honor, what do you believe is amongst the many reasons why you may have been the focal point of this from the West Bloomfield School District? And what do you hope that you can do to then inspire other educators coming up in the district to have a similar impact that you've been able to have at Doherty and beyond?
Oh gosh, that's a good question. Because again, I think there's so many people who fit the bill and who could have been honored right alongside me. But I do think that I'm a very passionate educator. I'm a lifelong learner. I really believe that there's always more to learn in our profession, and I'm always looking to enhance the educational experience for our students and also try to encourage professional learning among staff and families. So I'm involved in a ton of committees across the district. I'm involved in a lot of extracurricular things in our school. I run a Book of the Month club. We're working on kind of reading a book every month as a school community and talking about that. We actually meet tomorrow after school. So there's a lot of ways to be invested and to impact the community, whether it's within the walls of the school or outside of within the community as well.
Well, Colleen, we want to congratulate you once again for being one of the 75 educators across the great state of Michigan and its 80-plus counties named Best in Class by the Detroit Red Wings, and hope that there'll be many more inspiring stories from educators like you and your colleagues at Doherty and beyond for years to come. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much, Jake. I appreciate it.
Fantastic award for Colleen Mestog from West Bloomfield School District, one of 75 teachers honored Best in Class by the Detroit Red Wings in 2025. You can give her your congratulations on social media, on Facebook at West Bloomfield Schools, or when you see her around the schools as your kids are going through the West Bloomfield School District. Make sure to give your teachers a high five and a thank you for the work that they do throughout the week, each and every week, educating our kids. They do great work here in West Bloomfield each and every day. As we head toward later portions of the week, I want to remind you again, a winter storm watch will be in effect from Wednesday afternoon all the way through Thursday morning. Some inclement weather conditions expected in Greater West Bloomfield, including a significant amount of snow, anywhere from 4 to 8 inches in southeastern Michigan. The current projection is about 6 inches here in the Greater West Bloomfield area, according to the National Weather Service's Pontiac, Detroit office. That means not only will this weather be impacting us here in Greater West Bloomfield, but also our pets at home on Wednesday evening and all the way through Thursday as well. Kevin McIntosh from our team had a chance to speak with Premier Pet Supply co-owner Jeff Nagara about some tips that you can put into play to help keep your pets safe outdoors during these winter conditions.
We have the owner of Premier Pet Supply in West Bloomfield, Jeff Nagara. Thank you for being here, Jeff.
Thank you for having me.
Let's talk about it. First and foremost, our extended family members, our pets, our loved ones. We love them. We want to make sure they're properly taken care of. From everything that you know, what are some of the most important steps that pet owners here in West Bloomfield should take to best prepare our pets for the winter?
Well, first and foremost, just like us, we want to keep them inside and keep them warm. With the weather getting cold and with it getting windy, just like the wind chill affects us, it affects the pets the same way. We want to be prepared and keep them inside for the most part when it does get to those extreme colds. Now, if it's in the 30s and 40s, by all means, let's take them out and have some fun. But when it's a super cold, limit the potty time to a few minutes to get them in and out, because just like us, they're going outside with no clothes on. You don't want to be naked outside. It's not fun.
Definitely not fun. I wasn't expecting that angle, but that's a good one. Yes, you go out there, take care of your business. Bring our pets back in as soon as possible. Are there any common hazards that pets face during the winter months that owners can actually mitigate some of these risks?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of times when you're taking your dog out for a walk, the municipalities and landlords will put out rock salt, which is great for us. It gets rid of the ice, but it's not safe for their pads and paws. So what you want to do is either put some kind of waxy ointment on the bottom of their pads, like Muster's Secret that we carry, or a paw soother or a paw protection, or booties, and that'll help keep their pads safe. Because a lot of times when you're looking at their pads, the ice balls will get kind of in between their finger, or in between their toes, I should say, and that's where it can really hurt them.
Ugh.
And that's what you want to protect.
Oh my goodness. And I never even thought about that. Those huge chunks of salt that they put out there. I can just imagine. And if we go back to thinking like us, if you go out there and just step on those with your bare feet, it would hurt so much. I don't care if it's the summertime, it would hurt. So that's another great thing. I'm glad you brought that up. But let's continuously piggyback on that, right? You mentioned some products and supplies that owners can get for that. Are there any other recommended tips or products for protecting our pet claws, paws from the salt, the ice, and then in the weather in general during the winter?
Yeah, we carry the whole gambit. We have Pet Safe Ice Melter. Paw Thaw is one of the brands that you put down. So if they go to step on it, it's not going to hurt their feet. And like I mentioned, there's booties, there's ointment you can put on. We also have sweaters, we have jackets, and sometimes we have goggles, depending if you're going to go skiing or snowboarding, or the dogs still want to put their face outside when it's cold when you're driving. So there are a lot of different things that we have that'll help protect your pets in this cold weather.
Yes, yeah, and I love some of the things that you named. This is probably one of the only times I can legitimately say booties on here, and we're referring to pet supplies. That helps them during the winter, so don't come after me, FCC. But thank you for providing that information, and once again, joining us right here live on The Splash, owner of Premier Pet Supply in West Bloomfield, Jeff Nagar, talking about how we can keep our pets safe and actually enjoy the winter. Now that I think about it, let's talk about that now, Jeff. Is there any way that our pet owners can safely and actively keep our pets engaged during these colder months while minimizing exposure to the cold?
Yeah, so, in the summertime, we're not really worried about them, getting too cold. And there might be, a little bit of heat that you have to watch out for. But in the wintertime, they get cold a lot quicker. So if you're going for that typical 2-mile walk, maybe limit it to half a mile. If you're going to be playing outside, play on the snow and not the cement. You can still play fetch, you can still play Frisbee. You just don't want to do it for an extended period of time. And if you do, make sure they have the proper, attire, whether it's a jacket or a sweater, like I said, or definitely make sure their pads are covered on their paws so they're not getting too cold or getting frostbite or any of those ice balls that are built up and hurting them when they walk.
You know what, Jeff? You know what I just thought of? So outside, it's extremely cold, right? We all know that. Inside, to kind of combat that, we turn the heat up, we have space heaters, fireplace, things of that nature, to make sure that we are warm. But sometimes our pets could possibly be overheated or things of that nature, and kind of going in between that heat and that ice cold. How can we kind of gauge whether or not our heat could be too hot indoors for our pets as well?
So, room temperature is the best way to put it. I typically keep it, 70 or 72, depending on how cold it is outside. And it's going to affect our pets the same way. If you don't have the heat on to keep it warm enough in the house, they're going to shiver. So, you can put a blanket on them when they're sleeping, or if they're hanging out on the couch with you. You can have different activities you can do inside the house to keep them active and keep their their blood flowing. I like recommending snuffle mats because that'll keep them occupied, especially if you can't get outside with it being extremely cold. Those are great options that'll keep them working and keep the brain moving and just keep them active in a time when there's not too much activity going on.
Thank you for also saying that also, because I just thought about that as we were talking so much about the outside. I'm like, yeah, inside we make it warm for ourselves, but depending on the breed of the dog, it could be too hot for them. So I appreciate you for putting that in perspective also. With us right here live on The Splash, Premier Pet Supply owner Jeff Nagar, talking about some tips and reminders to make sure our pets are accommodated during this winter time also. Are there any additional tips, resources, products that we did not discuss in regards to keeping our pets safe and comfy during the winter before we let you go, Jeff?
There are heated beds out there that we have in the stores. There are just beds in general. The biggest thing is if you want to keep your animal, or your pet, I should say, your family member, a little warmer or a little cooler, you can get something that's, up off the ground. So instead of having a flat mat, have a bed that has sides on it, where they can snuggle up and snuggle in. And like I said, blankets are the best way to add that additional warmth, just like we have when we go to sleep at night.
Perfect. Make sure our babies are taken care of, nice and secure, just like we all want to be. And I appreciate that perspective also. Thank you again for your information. And owner of the Premier Pet Supply in West Bloomfield, Jeff Nagard, thank you again for your time.
Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate it.
Some good advice as we head into some snowier weather later on in the week. Maybe a good idea on Wednesday to take your dogs out for a walk a little bit earlier on. If you have outdoor cats, maybe they're indoor and outdoor, maybe bring them in for a little bit as that snowstorm comes through Wednesday afternoon all the way through Thursday morning. We'll keep you updated, and you can also get more updates from the National Weather Service on weather.gov/DTX. Plenty more coming up on the Splash Live today. On the other side of the break, we'll tell you a bit about some Black History Month programming happening at the West Bloomfield Civic Center, and later on, a very helpful service for seniors and those with disabilities right here close to home. Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live. What people are watching in Sylvan Lake, Civic Center TV, and 89.3 Lakes FM.
Wow, looking good, thanks. Just powered up to a Real ID. Power up? So future me has X-ray vision. More like future you can fly to all 50 states, DC, and the U.S. territories. Wait, you can fly? Sure, I'm Real ID compliant. Means now I can fly to Florida for the NASA launch today, then to Utah for the stargazing trip. Sounds good. Have fun. I'll just hang here.
Be your Real ID self by May 7th, 2025. Visit tsa.gov/Real ID or your local DMV.
I don't know why you're so sad. You've got a roof over your head.
You gotta stop with that depression stuff. That's what white people think. You alright?
It just feels like it's coming from everywhere.
Do you want to talk about it?
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad.
Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
Good nutrition can help make sure you have enough iron, calcium, and vitamin C in your body, which can make it harder for lead to enter your bloodstream. Help protect your family from the harmful effects of lead.
And now, back to the Splash Live.
Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm your host, Tyler Keefe. Thanks for joining us, and of course, encourage you to follow along with us for even more information across social media, Facebook at Civic Center TV 15, as well as on YouTube, X, and on Instagram at Civic Center TV as well. And all those links can be found on civiccentertv.com, where you'll find all of our full episodes and other content from the Splash Live and beyond on demand, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Here in Greater West Bloomfield, the celebration of Black History Month continues with special programs all across our community, including at both the main branch and the West Acres branch of the West Bloomfield Township Public Library. That includes an upcoming appearance by an author and a filmmaker, Caleb Rainey, who will be joining us now on the Splash Live to tell us more about his special appearance. Caleb, thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Glad to have you on, as you are going to be at the West Bloomfield Township Public Library sharing spoken word poems and tackling quite a wide variety of really important topics in our society today and throughout history. Tell us a little bit about what people can expect when they see you at the library.
Yeah, people can expect poems that are going to tackle race relations. I grew up in the Midwest as a Black man, and so my poems tackle these kind of tough conversations, but also a level of vulnerability and heart, because I think our biggest change comes from when we recognize the humanity within each other. So I will be performing poems for about 60 to 90 minutes and talking about my experiences.
And so spoken word is your sort of outlet of choice in this scenario for performance, but also you're a storyteller. You've written books, you've produced films. So how does a spoken word act ultimately get that message across in a really powerful way that people will be able to witness in person at our library.
Yes, I think what's really different than maybe reading these stories in a book is that you get to associate a face with these stories, and my voice gets to carry. You can hear the pain when I'm talking about some of those tough moments, right? Or the joy when it comes to me celebrating my own history. And so what you get out of spoken word is this real live art. And every time I share a poem, every time I perform a spoken word piece, it's a little different because I'm a little different every moment, every minute. And so it becomes this moment where real people get to sit in art in real time.
And how do you feel the reaction from that helps to further these really important societal conversations we continue to need to have, for better or for worse? They see, as you said, that personal element of these stories. Does that help to aid sort of that ever important conversation after the fact?
Oh, absolutely. I think even the fact that it is a live performance makes it so that we're more likely to talk about it afterwards. You may read a book at home and then never talk about it with anyone in your life again. But in a moment where it was alive and you talked about it with me or with someone next to you, then afterwards you go talking about it with your family and your friends, and you get to spark some of these conversations because you're already more comfortable with it being said out loud. The quiet part is being said out loud, and now we have the permission to speak about it.
Caleb Rainey is an award-winning author, performer, and short film producer who will be at the West Bloomfield Township Public Library in their main branch's meeting room Tuesday, February 18th, beginning at 7 o'clock. Spoken word poetry and a great conversation on really important topics that affect everybody in our community and relate back to the ever-important Black History Month as we continue to celebrate and recognize the impact of Black history here in Greater West Bloomfield and beyond. You mentioned some of the key topics that you'll be discussing sort of on a broad range, but what's some of the overarching messages that people are going to learn even more about as they do see your performance on Tuesday, February 18th, and engage in those conversations with their neighbors and friends afterward?
Yeah, so we'll be covering things like police brutality, but we'll also be covering things like the education system and my experiences and challenges that came with being in the education system in the Midwest as a Black man or a Black child, really. And we'll also be talking about those social relationships. There is a poem where I talk about a white man who comes up to me and asks me why Black men don't want to be good dads, right? And we get to have this conversation both in the piece and then in the performance space where we get to unpack these kind of tighter, more specific moments. And so that's kind of what we'll be ranging through.
You can find more information on Black History Month programming through the West Bloomfield Township Public Library on the website West Bloom. LIB is on Facebook, or you can find them on WBLIB.org. That includes a performance and a conversation with Caleb Rainey Tuesday, February 18th from 7 to 8:30 p.m. in the meeting room at the main branch of the West Bloomfield Township Public Library. He joins us on the Splash Live as we preview his upcoming appearance at our local library. And connection's really important with these stories. Of course, those that are in our community have shared experiences in our Black community are going to be able to really relate to some of your stories, but others, we have a very diverse community of people of all different ethnic backgrounds, socioeconomic backgrounds, certainly cultural and religious backgrounds. How do you hope they're able to relate to these stories? How do you keep those relatable to them in a way that does spark those conversations and does spark ultimately some learning and some thought afterwards?
Well, I come from an educator's background. I'm an educator, my mother was. And so the way that I approach my artistry and my work and my performances is to meet people where they're at. So even though I'm bringing my full self and I'm talking about my personal experiences, my goal in all of my work is to kind of boil it down to the center point of what it really is about, what value we're talking about. Are we talking about empathy, compassion, understanding? Are we talking about showing up and supporting others? Those are things that are across all diverse backgrounds and identities. Those are values that we hold as a community or as a human being. And those are the things that I'm always hoping to reach and bring out in my performances so that we will never just be stuck in this, well, that's not my experience and I don't understand it, so I'm not going to engage with it. No, this is the human experience.
And part of the beauty of art is that you're able to open people's eyes to different perspectives or make them think about things maybe from a different angle. And whether that changes their mind or not is really not the purpose of that art, but rather to get them thinking about these complicated topics that affect many people in our community. And so, Caleb, as you perform these acts and you have these different conversations with our community following your performance on Tuesday, it's no secret. We live in a very divisive time. We have a lot of people that are really questioning the role of identity in our society today. So as you do engage in these performances, and you do hope that people take a little bit away from what you perform on Tuesday, February 18th, and how much more important do you believe maybe it is that you do have this sort of discussion through art in today's society especially?
I think art is the place where we allow our guard to drop a little bit. And I think in these times, we really need that. I think when we lead with a hyper-political conversation, it can be really hard to listen to each other. But art is this question of, what if we bring humanity into the conversation? What if we bring in creativity and alternate perspectives to allow ourselves to kind of stretch our mind? And I think we approach art with that comfortability where we don't approach it with some of the other harder conversations.
Caleb Rainey is with us. He is a spoken word artist who will be performing as part of the West Bloomfield Township's Public Library's Black History Month programming Tuesday, February 18th. That performance at the main library in the meeting room. More information on WBLIB.org or follow them on Facebook at West Bloom LIB. Caleb, what ultimately keeps you coming back to do more of these performances, not only in our local libraries, but in other places all across the U.S. and sparks that passion for you to continue to tell these stories in different ways?
I think for me, it is truly the conversations that happen after the performance. I am not a performer who shares my poetry and then hides. I am standing right in the room with you so that we can keep talking. And there are people who have come up to me and said, I see things differently now. Or I never knew exactly how to name that, and now I do. Or I've heard a little bit about this, but I've never fully understood, and now I get it. And those are the things that make me keep coming back, because I'm hoping that together we will hold hands and go to a brighter future and a better understanding with more compassion and love. And those are where those conversations start. And so I get my cup filled by helping others move closer to where we are all a little bit better.
Caleb, we've got about 1 more minute left with you before we'll have to move on today. So if people are just tuning in, give them that last minute pitch for why they should come out and see you and join in on that conversation and connection at the West Bloomfield Library.
Absolutely. You should come out because there is going to be a real, authentic human connection that's happening in that space where it is a divisive time and we need to be closer to each other.
He is an award-winning artist who does this all throughout the U.S. and has won many different awards, including finishing 7th in the 2023 UNESCO Slamavision Global Poetry Slam in Iowa City. And you'll be able to see him very soon at the West Bloomfield Township Public Library. Caleb, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Appreciate it. The performance is Tuesday, February 18th at the main library of the West Bloomfield Township Public Library, the main branch in the meeting room. 7 p.m. is the performance, and there'll be plenty to go on there, from performing to some afterward conversation and discussion across the local community. And of course, there's plenty more programming for Black History Month happening at the West Bloomfield Township Public Library. You can find their full calendar of events coming up throughout February on WBLIB.org, or follow them on Facebook for even more special previews at West Bloom LIB. During the winter season, it can be tough to get around our community, especially when you get snow and ice coming into the fold. That's especially the case for those in our senior populations and those with disabilities in Greater West Bloomfield. But that is also a place where our friends at West Bloomfield Parks come into play, providing some special transportation services to help bridge those gaps right here in our community. Here to join us to tell us even more about these transportation services provided by West Bloomfield Parks is their Marketing and Communications Manager, Megan Tahako. Thank you so much for being with us.
Hi, Tyler. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, glad to have you on to talk about this because it's an important service that is available. We have many different public transportation services people have to choose from in Greater West Bloomfield, whether it is the Western Oakland Transportation Authority or Smart Bus Services. But this is really a specialized service for residents of West Bloomfield and specific populations. Tell us a little bit about these transit services and who they're directly aimed to benefit.
Sure, absolutely. So our community transit program services anyone over the age of 55 that lives in West Bloomfield Township or anyone that has disabilities. So ages 16 and up, anybody with a disability is eligible to use our services. And we provide transportation to medical appointments, grocery store, hair visits to get your hair done, social activities. So all types of different, things that people would need to do within the township.
And it's important, too, because not only are you taking them to some of those ever critical appointments, such as their medical visits or even the visit family, but you're taking them out and about in our community. I'd imagine, especially in the winter months for our senior population and even those with disabilities that may have issues with mobility, that really is important to keep them socialized in our community and knock down some of that isolation.
Absolutely. And, some people might be, even if they are still driving, they might feel intimidated if the roads are a little bit icy or snowy. So how great is it that you can have a nice warm bus come door to door, pick you up, drop you off. And our community transit drivers are so friendly and so passionate about serving this community and serving seniors. We really hope that it's just a great experience for our residents. And especially, in the winter, we do have a lot of seniors that maybe go south for the winter, but there's also a lot of seniors that choose to use our services a lot more just because they aren't comfortable driving in these conditions.
More information on these senior and disabled transit services can be found on wbparks.org. You can always get updates, too, on their ongoing programs and specialty programs on Facebook at WB Parks. And Megan, this is a great program. It helps a lot of people in our community, especially during the winter months where there is a little bit more treacherous conditions out on our roads periodically. So if people are interested in these services, they may be helpful to them in West Bloomfield. How do they go about getting those rides secured?
Sure. So we have a transportation coordinator in our office. His name is Ben Burr, and he handles all of our appointments and scheduling. He's also a driver, so he might be the person that picks you up out on the road. But the way to schedule services is you just call us. The number is 248-706-2411, and leave a voicemail on that line if Ben isn't available to answer. He will call you back in the order with which voicemails are received. We book medical appointments out 4 weeks in advance, and then we book any other type of trip. So if you want to go to the grocery store, hair appointment, any type of shopping or social activity, we book those 2 weeks out. So try to book up as soon as you can because the slots do fill up in advance. So we encourage people to call and get on our schedule as soon as they can.
Again, that phone number, 248-706-2411, 248-706-2411. Megan Tahako is with us, the Marketing and Communications Manager for West Bloomfield Parks, on today's edition of the Splash Live as we talk about their special transit services that are available for seniors and for those with disabilities in our community. And this has a big benefit to people across the West Bloomfield Township area, but it has an interesting story, too, of how it developed. How did this ultimately come about between, it started as a partnership, I recall, but how did this develop into a full-scale program that's operated year-round?
Yeah, so I'm not even sure how it came to be. It came to be in 1981, so I wasn't even born yet. But we've been offering this service for many, many, many years. So it's always been funded through either federal or local grants. So right now we get funding through SMART. And so it's been a service that we've certainly built up over the years. Last year we provided more rides than we ever have in the past. We've been able to do that by hiring some additional part-time bus drivers. So right now we're up to 5 part-time drivers, and then we also have Ben, who's a full-time person on our team. But just that addition of some staff has really helped us to accommodate more appointments and expand our hours a little bit.
More information on the transit services provided by West Bloomfield Parks can be found on wbparks.org. You can also get plenty more information on their ongoing programs, special events, and so much more fun happening across Greater West Bloomfield on Facebook at WB Parks. And you mentioned that it's become really an important service for our senior population, for those with disabilities in our community. But what is really the reaction or the response that these residents have when they do take a few of these trips, and it does ultimately bring some of that convenience back into their life that may not be there, especially in our winter season?
Yeah, it's really heartwarming to see some of the responses we get from customers. For some people, it really is their lifeline out of their home. And it's just such an important service that we can offer the community. And it really does help some seniors stay in their homes longer than they would have been able to otherwise. We recently did a survey of our transit customers just to make sure that our customer service is going well. We always try to send surveys following events, programs, all the different things. And we recently did one for our community transit service. And I have one quote that I wanted to read that I thought was really meaningful. This is from a customer's family member. And he said, "I cannot say enough positive words for Ben and his team. Truly grateful and thankful for their thoughtfulness, patience, professionalism, friendship, and compassionate care. They are wonderful people, and our family is so thankful that my father has the whole team in his life." So it was just, we get a lot of comments like that. Our drivers are all retired professionals that do this just like truly out of the goodness of their heart. They enjoy speaking with seniors, hearing their stories, spending time with them. So we are very fortunate that we have a really passionate group of individuals that provide this service to the community.
And that's what it's all about, providing a service that really is helpful for our seniors and those with disabilities in our community. And this is operated year-round, so it doesn't just help them in the winter season when those road conditions can be a little bit difficult. It helps them whenever they need it with a little bit of advance notice and a call over to West Bloomfield Parks. 248-706-2411 is the phone number, 248-706-2411. We'll leave that up there briefly, as it is currently at the bottom of your screen on CivicCenterTV.com. Megan Tahako is with us from West Bloomfield Parks as we talk about their community transit services. Megan, anything that we missed in this conversation or more information people should know as maybe they prepare to take advantage of this system here in our community?
Yeah, one other piece that I would just let people know is that while we have, our individual door-to-door pickup for medical appointments, grocery visits, all those types of things, we also have a lot of trips that really offer more of a social component. So we are planning all types of excursions throughout Metro Detroit, and people can sign up and they really get that social interaction. And it really is a mix of people who, can drive themselves here to get on the bus. And then we also do home pickups. So it's a combination of people. It's not just homebound seniors. It's not just seniors that are still able to get out and about. But we have all kinds of trips that we offer each season. And it really is a great way for seniors who maybe just aren't comfortable driving all over Metro Detroit, but they still want to get out and experience life and see things and go places and try new foods and do all of the things. So that program is incredibly popular, and it really is such a nice service. And the only reason that we're able to offer it is through our partnership with Community Transit.
Special programs close to home to keep you close to home. Megan, thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks, Tyler.
More information on their community transit program for seniors and for those with disabilities in our community can be found on wbparks.org. You can also give them a call for more information and to set those appointments. Again, for those medical appointments, they do need to be several weeks in advance. And for those more casual appointments going throughout the community, a couple weeks of advance notice, as Megan told us on the program. 248-706-2411, 248-706-2411, or visit the West Bloomfield Parks website on wbparks.org. We'll take a break on the Splash Live. On the other side, plenty more fun and events getting you out and about in the community, including learning about some of our friends out in nature. Live, local, social. It's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live. Want to enjoy Civic Center TV on your social media? Find us on Instagram at Civic Center TV. Get notified when we upload one of our interviews, full episodes, and more. Thank you for watching and listening to Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Policing is an excellent career. We all have a role and responsibility to provide public safety. Here in the MSP, we have a great and wonderful opportunity. As a trooper, everybody starts in the patrol car. But after a couple of years, we have a dive team. We have an emergency support team. We have troopers that are flying helicopters. You can move over into our forensic science division where you're working in the lab. We have detective sergeants, detective troopers. We just provide so many opportunities. And I tell troopers all the time, you will never get bored working for the MSP. It's important that we are engaged in our communities. We have to listen to what they want, and we adapt to make sure that we are providing excellent service. Policing is a very rewarding career. It has been for me for 25 years. I would not have picked another profession because I've enjoyed it.
I'm Gina Gregory, president of the Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society. I'm excited that Civic Center TV has reached 1 million views on YouTube. Congratulations. That's just terrific. We appreciate everything Civic Center does for the Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society and the community. For us, they promote and highlight our events. It's awesome to have them available 24/7 on YouTube. I'm Gina Gregory and proud to be one in a million.
And now, back to The Splash, live.
Live, local, social, it's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Tyler Keefe, and as always, encourage you to stay with us all across our social media, Facebook at Civic Center TV 15, and then YouTube, Instagram, and X at Civic Center TV. You'll find all of our segments on demand and some special short-form programming as well, including those ever-popular Instagram and YouTube Reels and Shorts that are getting a lot of traction here in the Greater West Bloomfield community. We thank you for tuning in and encourage you also to join the conversation and tell us your thoughts on some of these important topics all across our social media. There's plenty of fun to be had outdoors and indoors, learning about some of our natural friends in the community, our plant and wildlife with our friends at West Bloomfield Parks. And it all happens over at the Recreation Activity Center. Kevin McIntosh has more.
Here in West Bloomfield, the Nature Explorer Discovery Days are inviting families to step into the wonders of the natural world. From live reptiles to outdoor play, it's all about learning, exploring, and having fun. Let's take a closer look at what makes this program a local favorite.
It was listed as one of the activities online when you look what to do with toddlers, and it was open all day, so we decided to come between naps.
Nature Explorers Discovery Days, hosted by West Bloomfield Parks, offers families a chance to immerse themselves in Michigan's natural beauty. The self-guided program features live reptiles and amphibians, hands-on crafts, and so much more.
So we have this lovely nature room space and an outdoor natural play area. We wanted to make sure that the community had an opportunity to check out these areas that are available to them every week. So that's why we adapted our open hours into Discovery Days, so that way it would be open more frequently.
Discovery Days offers a unique way for families to connect with nature. We heard from a patron whose little one is especially fascinated by one of the attractions.
So far, it's the birds. I think she just likes touching them too, especially, but just all of it, to be honest. She's interactive with the puzzles and very fascinated by the turtle as well.
Children and families can explore at their own pace, whether they're crafting, observing live animals, or discovering the wonders of the natural play area. It's an experience that's both fun and educational, inspiring curiosity and fostering a connection with the environment.
It gives everyone an opportunity to actually see one another, because not every time in the winter you don't get to really see everyone. So rooms like this offer an opportunity for the community to get together and to learn a little bit about nature while having fun.
This free program runs on Wednesdays, making it accessible for all families in Greater West Bloomfield. Visitors say it's a wonderful opportunity to bond, learn, and appreciate the beauty of nature together.
I think it's really cool. I did not know we had half of these animals, to be honest. Yeah, I like that they have different types of crafts and it's interactive for children, and I think it's kind of cool for my age as well.
From exploring live animals to hands-on crafts, the Nature Explorers Discovery Days has something for everyone. It's a chance to connect with nature and each other right here in our own backyard. From WB Parks, I'm Kevin McIntosh, Civic Center TV.
Appreciate it, Kevin. Every Wednesday at the Recreation Activity Center. More information on that, WBParks.org. Want to remind you again as we head into Wednesday and Thursday, a winter storm is expected throughout our community, anywhere from 4 to 8 inches of snow. Expect various areas throughout southeastern Michigan. A winter storm watch will be going into effect Wednesday afternoon all the way through Thursday morning, and the snow definitely is expected to affect your Wednesday evening commute and your Thursday morning commute as well. We'll do our best to keep you updated on that as more developments come in from the National Weather Service on this weather update. In the meantime, you can follow along weather.gov/DTX, weather.gov/DTX. Put in your local zip code for more specialized information. In the meantime, stick with us across our social media, Facebook at Civic Center TV 15 and Instagram, X, and YouTube at Civic Center TV. For more updates, we'll post all of our videos from each and every episode of The Splash and other special programming announcements as well all along the way. Big thank you to our entire crew, Ryan Younglove and Calvin Brown at Master Control, Jake Schaff and Kevin McIntosh out in field, and of course you for tuning in. Live, local, social, it's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.